one thing that is very important these days is take the drug problem. Now, drugs come in aircraft, or some of them in ships, but I'd say 90% of the drugs come into this country by aircraft. Now, we spend billions of dollars to have an impregnable air defense system. I was one of the founders. 5 officers were sent to Colorado Springs in 1950 to organize the Air Defense Command. So I know exactly what its business is and how it works. And in those days, which you would call our early days, we were intercepting by radar an average of 47,000 flights a day over the United States. No matter which way they were coming, we intercepted them. We had special radars for special conditions. Then out here in Norfolk, we had the Atlantic Sea Frontier. And the Navy knew all the ships at sea. In fact, they knew all the ships at sea all over the world, now that they got the satellites up there. So we know every time you fill a rowboat with heroin, or when you fill an airplane with coke or whatever's coming in, we know it's in the air. When I was running clandestine operations, like a flight from the coast of Florida into Cuba, bringing some people in to do one thing or another against Castro, I would have to call first Air Defense Command, and I'd say, this little plane, 6-passenger small plane, is coming in tonight at about 9:30, and you will see it on your radar. Leave it alone. And it'll be there about 2 hours. It'll be coming out around 11:30. You'll see that. Leave it alone. Well, I had some cleared officers in the Air Defense Command. They'd put that on the records, and they wouldn't touch the airplane. Well, suppose they were delivering drugs instead of doing something the government had set up for them to do. You see, the drug guy could call them and say, look, I've got a plane coming in tonight with 10 tons of drugs. Don't touch that airplane. Well, that's collusion. See, he's in on it using it. But why is it that this great defense system that we have, that can see every single airplane in the air, in fact, we can see flocks of crows in the air with the thing, is perfect, can't see planes going to Mena, Arkansas loaded with drugs? Now that's utterly ridiculous, and that means that somewhere there's collusion through the government to the powers that be that run the drug program, which may be the same people when you think about it, you see? And I know that from flying planes myself in the transport business, from being with the Air Defense Command when I was started, and from running clandestine operations later in my career on the Pentagon. And the sky is absolutely covered with this stuff, and you cannot get through night or day, rain or snow, and yet coming through every single day. That just proves collusion in the drug business. Why don't we stop the drug business? You see, those are the elemental facts of life. How many people know that we could stop every plane going to Mena, Arkansas, no matter whether it's going treetop height or whether it's a satellite going by and dropping it down? And you know, we used to drop items from satellites by letting them go up there at 15 miles up and just let the thing drop. When it hit the ground, we'd pick it up. We were able to track it. Things like that.
From a satellite, it would drop here?
From a satellite, sure. We'd pick it up. We'd pick it up in the ocean. A fellow that used to be one of my operations officers in my Tokyo squadron had that job out there. He'd be out flying around the ocean because he couldn't tell which wave it was going to be in, but they'd say the satellite will release this thing and it'll come down within such and such an area, and of course it'd have a parachute on it, and they'd see it coming down, go pick it up.
Oh, I see. So it'd be like a roll of film or something.
Yeah, yeah. But if they can do that, my God, they can find a little boat with drugs on it, see. It's just that they're turning it around the other way. They're letting the government assist them and bring it in instead of the other way around. They used to use my planes in Southeast Asia bringing drugs directly in from China. They'd go up into South China. And if they ever got caught, there'd be a box like a coffin. I mean, not that it was coffin shaped, but it was a real coffin. They said, oh, we're bringing in a friend of ours over here. His grandmother died, and we're just bringing her down to bury her there. Her son lives down in Laos, and we're open up the box full of drugs. We used to see when we had the army in Burma, we used to pay the army. We paid the British army with British money. We paid the American army with American money. We paid the Chinese army with packages of heroin. That's the traditional pay for the Chinese army. So our army, to pay them, had heroin.